All right, we are live tonight, Wednesday, 8:01 p.m., December 21st, 2022, early National Signing Day. First off, guys, can you hear the dryer in the background? I have clothes running from it. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not.
Yeah,
A little bit.
I can hear it a little bit.
A little bit? Okay, I'll mute it. So first off, let's just start off, guys. I'm OUFlagGuy's. Thank everybody for joining me tonight for our Wednesday kind of recap of everything of kind of what's gone on with the transfer portal as well as early signing day. I think everybody has an opinion about it. First off, let's start with Gavin. Gavin, how are you tonight, buddy? It's a couple days till Christmas. Are you ready for Christmas? Are you ready for this cold snap? Are you bundled up? Are you dripping pipes?
Well, yeah, we are dripping pipes, so too. But the good news is that at least I do not have to go to work tomorrow. That is the positive thing I can say about that.
Nice. Did they cancel for you too?
No, it's because my days off, fortunately, were tomorrow and Friday anyway.
Nice.
Over at work, and they kind of shifted my schedule around to where now I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Saturday, Sunday. So it kind of worked out kind of fortunately on my favor. There,
nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Swiggy? How's yours going? Obviously, you're here to celebrate that you got a brand new house, so congratulations. Yeah. Are you fully moved in?
Basically fully moved in. There's a few things I have left in my other place, but it's just basically I just haven't emptied the fridge there yet. I was planning to do that tomorrow, but with the cold and about 20 and a bunch of deliveries I need tomorrow, it doesn't look that's not happening. So.
Absolutely. So I will say, you know what, I did get around to getting, because it's been hectic on my end as well for these past 2 weeks. This week is like now everything's starting to catch up. I did have a chance to catch up with our bull pick'ems through Marshall for it, and I'm hoping to send the link to y'all tomorrow morning for it. But right now, it's Gavin and I are competing against each other with 1 point, like separating us at the moment. Swiggy, you're like in third place. For it, poor Kayla, though, she is like last place with only 2 points because she went double or nothing with that 5-point game with Cincinnati and Louisville and completely got negative 10 points.
Well, you know what? I have a Josh, I'm just gonna say it though. I have a problem with the bowl games.
Is it because your players aren't showing up to play? Your favorite ones?
Mm-hmm. Obviously, it is deceitful advertising, and I should be allowed to sue.
Absolutely. I mean, look, if Scarlett Johansson appears in it and she does not appear in the final cut, I think that's completely fair. And you know what's funny on that? As we're about to go on this railroad already, I get it.
No,
because I look at it in 2 ways. Okay, let me give you an example.
One second. Unless they say the actress or actor by name, stuff gets cut all the time. Welcome to the movies. Welcome to the real world. Grow up, kids. There is no Queen of England anymore.
I'm going to give you an example, though. And so there's 2 different realms. So I'll take any movie with it that they show, like what's going to happen. Marvel and DC, what did they do? They kind of made teaser trailers for it to get you hyped, but it doesn't really pertain to the actual film outside of a very rough. Mm-hmm. But let me give you this one. Kangaroo Jack. You know I'm not wrong. That would be a movie that was completely not what happened. That would be grounds to sue. And I would be all for that because, like, that was not a kid movie. That was an R-rated movie they knew was going to bust. Same thing with Snow Dogs, I think it is.
I will say, if I was EA, I would not. I'd be hiding right now.
But you see what I'm saying, where it's like, is it going to be used in every situation? No, but in those cases, yeah, the book needs to be thrown. Like, guys, this is not what you advertised. This is a waste of money.
It's still dumb. It's just all that's going to happen is they're not going to list it. All that's going to happen is if it's 50-50, they're not going to. If it's 50-50, they're not going to put the actress in the trailer. So
I mean, I'm okay with that. If it makes better trailers, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, that was dumb. She was in the trailer for like 2 seconds. It was very dumb.
Yeah, their reasoning was stupid. So I know why we're all here, though, today. Right, Swiggy? Right, Gavin? We're all here to talk about how our childhoods are about to come to, like, a complete crashing, like, sob fest next year because Ash Ketchum, after 25 years, is finally retiring. And it's what every job wants, a 10-year-old with 25 years of experience. Like,
Yeah.
we're all here to talk about this and that he finally made it. The curse is finally broken. He can turn 11 now. And is his daughter, or is the new character really his daughter? We will see. But we're all going to say also as well, we're here to we're also here to cry because we're here to cry. Like, we'll be friends forever, right? Copper? And then I walked away. Or, I'll do it myself, Ma. And then Ashla is Butterfree after 25 years. That's what we're all here for. We're all here to have an ugly cry.
By the way, who do we actually ship Ash with at this point? Because there would be so much that goes on to all of that and everything.
It would be the greatest. It's going to be the greatest shipping war since World War II.
Oh my gosh! Do you go with Misty, or I'm kind of going with Serena on that one?
It's going to be Serena or it's going to be Dawn. It's going to be those two.
No,
it's probably going to be Serena if it is.
I don't think it's Dawn.
Dawn is his greatest supporter, man. Dawn is guy. I know everyone's probably tuning in. All one person going, "What the hell, guys?" So,
I have no opinion on it. My only opinion is go with the most chaotic. Go with the one that's the most chaotic.
Gary?
Yeah, do it. Yeah, do it. Why not? Why not? Whichever one pisses the fan base off the most. Happy National Signing Day to those who, I guess we'll say celebrate, but mostly it seems like it's just a great chance to piss yourself off.
Correct. Well, it's what Ali Kuno has said. It's like it's a bunch of grown men watching 18-year-olds put on hats. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
And unless you're Barry Trammell, where it says this signing day needs to be pushed to like August. Barry, please retire. Anyway,
I will say this. Oh, go on, Gavin.
I was going to say, or unless you're like Haas Fawcett, you're basically showing off your graphic designs for the most part, though, too. Which that's, like how much that goes on and all that. It's like,
a lot. Oh, absolutely a lot. It's a big deal.
I'm just saying, if anything, like, it's kind of gotten to the point to where, like, I can't even go anywhere without seeing like some sort of like huge, huge promotion deal. If anything, that's kind of where I've just seen National Signing Day now. If anything, compared to all of it, just to the hacks.
My issue with the National Signing Day, I hate the. Come on. The day. I have all the dates before Christmas. It's just. It's abysmal. I feel bad, and I don't say it often, but I feel really bad. I do feel bad for sports writers, especially college writers, because, and this isn't, and that's the people. And you can say crack it out 2 years. You can say whatever you want. So now in bowl season, they have to cover the bowl game, the transfer portal, and everything that goes on with National Signing Day.
And Gavin, since you all of us have been in sports in some capacity. Gavin, you have definitely been in sports just like I have for reporting it. I feel, and it's got to the point where recruiting websites aren't worth their weight in gold anymore. No. Because outside of like being in tune of like, all right, who's the program talking to? Has there been rumors? With what's gone on, and I'm just going to drop the names like Peyton Bowen and David Hicks. Why would anybody pay for that information if it's going to be outdated the day of? Well, and I feel bad for them. I genuinely do, because that's their livelihood.
I think a lot of it has been, and I'm kind of going to go into this little bit of a rabbit hole here, but I think part of it now is like, we kind of get talks within like the whole issues with NIL, and everything, because it's basically like, almost like part of the free agency, kind of getting with the incentives. I mean, if you look at Oregon, with the whole, with like Nike being in their backyard, that, is definitely going to get yourself into a huge incentive for the most part. And, some of these other places too, it's something that we kind of have that goes on, that people might not be into the whole part. Now it's like, if anything, now, the coaches can't offer it or anything, but yeah, they could maybe like have something like off-site, or something like that as well that goes on. But, I mean, if it's the money though and everything, that, I mean, they're just going to go and, do the money to kind of help make the parents proud. But there's also a downside to this. If they want to talk about, being in like, say, the NFL or something like that, do you really, want to have that short term or anything like that? Or do you want to make that 10 or 15 or extra 20, 25 million down the road, wanting to play into the league, and that's going to be the other huge issue. And right now we're seeing a lot of people, a lot of these kids right now that are 16, 17, that think, oh, wow, million or 2 million or anything like that, but not seeing the long-term goal right ahead. And a lot of it, with like how I said though too, of what it means to be, basically into these next leagues. Now it's still early with the whole NIL and everything and all that, but I think that's going to be a huge part of it. We'll just kind of see within the next 2-3 years.
It's gonna be a disaster. It's just it goes back to did you guys ever watch the 30 for 30 one on SMU?
Yeah, Pony Excess.
Pony Excess.
Yeah, it's like how that lineman who brought down SMU was there because SMU had offered him the most money. He went to SMU and ended up being miserable and brought down the program.
Well,
accidentally, it's fit. But that's more what I mean. If you have guys who are only going for the money, there's so much in college with fit. Like it's because in the NFL, I mean, look, it's either you're either grinding or you're making enough money where it's like, whatever. I can live in Tennessee for a year or two. It's just different with college, though.
Correct, and that's something
different.
And that's something I really want to highlight because something I think a lot of people have missed. First off, they changed the signing day to benefit the coaches because they got tired of them basically flipping in February because the bagman would come in. They wanted to get it done before the holiday, so they don't have to be recruiting during the holiday. Now, it's kind of flipped on its head because there's for a kid, like let's take Gavin, let's say you're a person that they're recruiting. There's no disadvantage for a kid going to Oregon, for example, and taking $2 million, staying there for 2 years and then transferring out. There is no disadvantage for it. There's not.
There's no disadvantage for it, too. And the other thing too is that with the whole issue with the transfer portal is basically like the NFL's free agency at this point. Where okay, maybe it hasn't worked out. I got paid or something. And I can go someplace else. And the other thing too that I think a lot of people might not realize, and I know we're going to be talking about with the whole commitments and everything too. I want to kind of be able to highlight this. But a lot of people now, with some of these kids that are going into the transfer portal and everything, they're going to be recruiting much more on sometimes the transfer kids rather than, somebody that's say like 16, 17 years old that hasn't even been in, playing college ball for quite some time. Hold on, if I may. Would you rather have somebody that's been, in the college game or so that's been quite a little bit though too, or would you rather go with somebody that's 16 or 17 where you have to redshirt a year or so in order to get them up to speed?
If they're generational talents, man, you go with the 16, 17-year-old or whatever.
Whoever.
And that's the thing. David Hicks, for example, for us, it sucks, but he's replaceable. Bowen was never officially on the roster. But he's probably going to be a generational talent, just like Caleb Williams. You can't replace that. You throw money at him for it. And so I want to do though circle around with it because there's so much to talk about with it. I want to talk about the class. I also want to talk about that. The big thing is NIL has changed. I think the biggest thing is for the fans. They have to taper we talked about the journalists and like how much they're at a disadvantage at this point. Like they're learning stuff as much as we are in the moment. Obviously, the Peyton Bowen for it as well. The next one, and I don't know how true it is, so I'll throw it out there. Let other people discover if it's true or not. Obviously, during the press conference, Brent Venables was relayed to that Bowen signed with Oregon, and it made him pissed off. Rumor had it that it was basically something of that he thought it I got my line of thought mixed up. That basically Brent automatically assumed that Peyton Bowen was going to be there. Turns out he obviously didn't. And where that's going to is Brent believes that he can probably pay the kid a minimal amount of money and basically promote the program as well as the facilities. I hate to tell you guys, if you're a high-level recruit like a Peyton Bowen or a David Hicks, for example, they want money. They do not care if you have an awesome weight room. They want money. They do not care if you're going to do $50,000 when, and I'm just throwing out a ridiculous number, if Oregon's going to give you $4 million. They don't care. They want money. They don't care about a sole program. They want money.
Happened with Ohio State too. Ohio State lost a couple guys over that, and I mean, it's tough enough with the draft when you're giving these guys money, giving it to 16, 17-year-olds, man.
Correct. And so,
yeah, I'm not saying they don't deserve money. I am not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I'm just saying you're essentially pay. The way sports works is, look, you're like the way sports. Even baseball works. Carlos, I'll take MLB for example. Xander Bogaerts hilariously underpaid through most of his career. I mean, he got $280 million contract, partly based on past performance. With this, you're betting on talent. You're betting on guys who high school performance, or even not even high school performance, looking at their intangibles, just looking at them as a player, which some guys can't miss. Correct. But
I want to throw another complication. We've talked about this earlier this year. And this is where it kind of comes full circle with the coaches. Some of the coaches not understanding why these kids are flipping at the very last minute with a huge bag, or what's it called? Like we discussed earlier in the podcast, where it was like outside of the what was it? The other one. I can't think of it. What they're starting to realize is these high-level recruits, okay? Mm-hmm. Peyton Bowen, Caleb Williams, David Hicks, the guys that everybody's clamoring for, everybody wants. They haven't realized these guys are not coming to college anymore to win a national championship. And I know that ruffles feathers everywhere. They're coming there basically to use it as a stepping stone to go to the NFL to make money. And they could care less even if they win a Super Bowl. They see it as a job to make quick money.
They're doing it because they have to. I mean, if the NFL didn't have their rules, some guys would try and jump straight to the NFL with hilarious consequences. No, there's there's always one guy who it's like, yeah, he could play in the NFL, but like, it's most even 5 stars out of high school. You need time to build up.
Right. But you see where I'm going with that is their priority is not to win a national championship at this school. They could care less. Their priority is to build their name up to have a guaranteed somewhere probably. I would say after the 5th round at this point, you're just irrelevant. You're probably most likely going to get cut. So the top 5 rounds, guaranteed money, probably at least have a chance to be on the scout team for a moment or to be a bench warmer. You probably won't be a starter. There's very few outside running backs at this point that are starters, or someone who really needs a quarterback. They're not day one starters at this point, but they're not. They could care less if they win at OU. They could care less if they win at Ohio State. They want their bank and they want to go there. And we have to admit that. We have to cater to them. The problem is, now this is where it's coming to that full circle again. The problem is that's one person on a full team. That impacts all the team at this point who do want to be there.
It depends how professional you are. I mean, Anthony Rendon he's with the Angels now. The guy, if you talk to the guy about baseball, it's kind of obvious he hates watching baseball. He hates the sport. He's just good at it. But he's a consummate pro. And you're never, even though he got paid, it's like, I mean, you're not getting anything bad from Rendon. Right. Unfortunately, it's a bit different. It might be a bit different. I mean, we'll see how it affects it, because there are people. And we know how these guys think. I'm sure we'll be able to point to guys who it's like, well, I got the bag and then I just stopped working, because that's how it always happens. Some guys just have that really good mindset. It's going to vary so much from player to player, and honestly, I think that's going to be the secret to NIL. unless something changes, which I think something's good. I think they're going to try and change something eventually with
Mhm.
it. But let's
Yeah.
say it retains its current form. Your thing is you have to unlock. You have to decide who is the guy I'm going to give money to, who isn't going to lose their grind, who isn't going to lose that mindset. Who is basically who's mature enough that that they're not just gonna quit like that because
Well,
for better or worse, I mean, look, everyone's trying to win, everyone's trying to win, everyone's trying to do it well, but so if Peyton Bowen, let's say I'm going to use I won't even use him as an example because I don't know enough about him, but let's say you have one guy who is let's say you have one guy who's 100% there, and another guy who he might not be 100% there. It's tough to know who to give the money to. Especially if the other guy's better. But
Right, and
look, 5 stars are great. 5 stars are always going to be 5 stars, and that's always how it's kind of operated. Guys go to college so they can sell themselves to the NFL. Unfortunately, NIL puts more of a monkey wrench into that because, well, they can make a lot.
Correct.
They can just make so much money, and
I
don't know.
I want to add this in too because I know Gavin, you want to say something too.
Mm.
As a part two to like affecting the teammates and stuff as well. The issue too is, and I'm going to use Peyton as the example too. I feel bad for his brother, man, because with how basically I don't want to bring drama to this, and it's become drama. And it's going to probably remain drama. What school would give his brother the time of day at this point? And that's, to me, affecting the people and players around him. And it's a selfish decision in that respect. I'm not going to blame a kid who's 17, 18 years old that's basically said, we'll give you money right now. We don't know what their situation is. We don't know if the breadwinner's in the house. We don't know any of that. I'm not saying for Peyton Bowen, obviously, but we don't know their situation. A lot of kids would do that to escape poverty really fast or to help their mom and dads out. Like, we can't blame them for that. So I will never judge a kid for that. It is what it is. And it's their decision ultimately, but it does impact. There is consequences to it type of deal.
You just have to actually go on, Gavin. Go on.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there, Josh. I mean, I would not blame, a kid, just wanting to try and help their parents out, like within a certain situation or something like that, though, too. It's, hard for us to just basically say that, we're on the high horses because we saying, oh, we've been down that road. No, none of us are even athletic or probably hand-eye coordinated, to do anything on the field,
but
like
Gavin,
that.
We know who's been down that road. We know perfectly. Mr. Dabo Sweeney, because remember, on his high horse, it's God's name, image, and likeness. Dabo that doesn't pay the bills.
When I first, just really quick, when I first saw that quote, I was like, oh, this can't be real, but please, God, let it be real. And then the video came out, and oh, Dabo, you still have the most punchable face in college.
You are the second person to say that from Sean. He's like, I don't know what it is. Dabo looks like somebody I'd punch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would.
I just got word that I just now got a notification that the governor here just decided to declare a state of emergency for this storm coming in.
I mean, it's going to be cold. That's it.
I mean, yeah. It's going to be cold. It's going to be windy, but but still, you might as well get ahead of it because even if we're not going to ice, it still makes things easier if you declare a state of emergency. And,
for the federal funds and all that.
I mean, honestly, single-digit temperatures are probably worth it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, go ahead. Go.
I was just gonna say we also got like blowing snow where I'm gonna be at too, which is
that's new then, Gavin, because my forecast has said it's all north of Oklahoma, the state. It's not even going to be even reach down to Oklahoma.
I live in the northeastern part of the state, man. So.
I know. I've been to your house.
So
I have been to your house, sir. They're saying it's like staying like in Kansas at this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So but
Although that does look like NW. Does look like the Weather Service just said maybe maybe under maybe 0.1 to 1 inches of snow. So you know what? We'll see. We'll see if my internet guy comes tomorrow, or if my bed gets delivered. I'm gonna guess no, but you know what? I'll be helpful.
Just remember, Swiggy. It is the first day of winter. The winter equinox, the winter solstice has happened. So you know what this means. It's the perfect day to, as speaking of snow, to promote Cocaine Bear. That just came to my mind. I was like,
I mean, the thing is, it's gonna be a minorly rough weekend. But once you get to Sunday, it's not gonna be anything. So
no. Anyway, let's do positive. Let's do positive first. Let's circle back because we still have a lot. NIL is, until they regulate it, even with the transfer portal, it's going to be chaotic like this every year. Journalists will not be able to keep up. Fans are going to get very frustrated. Teammates will get frustrated, especially if they're really encouraging their teammates to go. Stuff's going to get very frustrating. It never ends. What's the Nintendo joke? The hype train never ends. We're there right now until they do something, or the NFL forces its hand of like, we're going to start showing Friday games, guys, or Saturday games, and that's where the NCAA will, or the teams will be like, we have to reel it back a bit. Anyway, but I want to focus on the positives as well, because OU, regardless of Peyton Bowen, regardless of Akana, and I think there was one other I'm trying to think of, OU had their best, I think it was said the best class they've ever signed. So kudos to Venables for that. Everyone's ignoring that with Peyton Bowen is a generational talent, but they have the best class they've ever had. And I think it's important to highlight that for it. Like, to keep for what happened a little over a year ago, to having a number, depending on where you're looking at, number 8, number 10 class. That's incredible. And you did pull in 5 stars. You pulled in a bunch of 4 stars. You pulled in guys that are going to be day one instant impact players. You're going to probably see a true quarterback competition between Dylan and Jackson Earl. I'm not saying Jackson is going to be the day one starter, but Dylan was put on notice. You shape up or you're benched. I think we can all agree on that. By shape up or by the third game, we're throwing Jackson Arnold in type of deal. But that all being said,
the other thing.
No, go ahead.
I was also going to just say too, the other thing too, and I know it doesn't really, depending on what you saw or anything, but I think the other thing too is like we also kind of got like a huge transfer win earlier though too with that guy out of Indiana as well.
Correct.
Who is, I think, going to be, as well, too. So even though we've done well in that part, though, too, don't forget, we can still get, a whole lot within the transfer portal as well, too.
Correct.
And I think that's going to be something to where we have to also keep in mind, even though we've had a good recruiting class, they can still be a lot done within the portal itself.
Correct. And that's areas we're going to fill holes. Now, for anybody wondering, I think the reason why Brent has gone after David Hicks and Bowen so much outside of, again, I repeat it a lot, but it is important to mention, unless he's an absolute bust, he's got to be a generational talent. There probably would be linchpins, like, for sure, they would be the on-the-field monsters with it, which is why he keeps going after them at this point. But that all being said from it, the big thing I took away from this class as well that I don't think other people are mentioning, and outside of like one person, besides, again, Peyton Bowen and all that, I bring that up a lot because that's the news. We didn't have anybody flip from the core 23 people. And I think that is something to keep in mind. Additionally, OU kept the in-state recruits that they were looking for and going after, namely Jacoby Johnson and Caden Green. They committed. And everybody pretty much committed early. Like, I will say, Swiggy.
Don't forget McCarty.
Yeah. So we kept our guys in. Now, the Peyton Bowen thing, I will say, Swiggy, that's on you because you're like, I bet it's Jackson Earl that flips tomorrow. Monkey paw curled on that one. And to switch to Peyton. So this is on you. I'm blaming you for that.
Blame Ari. Ari. It's not me.
Shame.
Also, but still, I'm just going to say it. Mike Gundy's asleep at the wheel.
We will get to that. I do want to say that. So, kind of from the top, I do want to start with the positives first. First off, to keep in mind, everyone needs to remember the ratings matter. Yeah. I want a 3-star guy that's going to commit, yes, but his ability to excel and basically be consistent is way different than a 5-star. Yes, we have seen 5 stars bust and 3 stars excel. But on average, if you have a lot of 5 stars on your team, you're going to win the Natty regardless. We've seen it with Alabama. We've seen it with Ohio State, Clemson. You want the 5 stars. So it is still good that OU did pick up, obviously, Jackson Arnold. Like, Jackson Arnold was like almost a year ago, like, I ain't going anywhere else. He wanted to stay. Jackson Arnold was a good pickup. I think, too, getting, what's his name? PJ. PJ was a huge get, in my opinion, for that. And that gets you like a big class for that. And then from there, it just started to go. I honestly expect a lot from personally Caleb Hicks. He's rated like a 3-star right now, but I think he's a 4-star. I expect a lot from that running back. Petaway is a great get as well. We need wide receivers. He is definitely one that I'm really looking forward to. I'm trying to think. Look out. Obviously, the transfer portal with Day, getting him as well as probably his brother at this point as well, like both of them. So getting both of them is great. Makari Vickers, like we have a solid bunch with it. Gavin, is there anybody? Obviously, like for me, obviously Jackson Arnold getting a competent quarterback that would probably lead to a competent. What's it called? A competent quarterback.
You know, at least, yeah,
quarterback coach.
Quarterback. I mean, like I said, some of the core guys and everything else. So too, and like we pretty much talked about most of the in-state guys. Of course, I've actually seen McCarty twice in person play and everything. You know, he's an absolute real deal. You know, and I would say, just from the in-state perspective, though, too. You know, Jacoby. You know, he's been pretty solid. You know, so he's definitely going to be somebody in the backfield, though, too. McCarty, I would be pretty wary about because he got really banged up, you know, this season as well. So I would kind of keep an eye on that because he had a lot of knee and hamstring injuries early, you know, during the season.
Right.
So that's going to be something, you know, where I would be very, very wary about though too. Good kid and all, and he can play his heart out, but I think if anything, I would kind of see some better conditioning from him, and that's pretty much about it.
Correct. And, you know, that is real fast. I remember what I was going to say earlier with the NIL stuff. There's something else we need to keep in mind as well. With the NIL, if y'all didn't see, and I have opinions on it, I have very strong opinions on it. The OU's 30 days, $30 million or $3 million campaign did not pan out. Fans, stuff only donated in total about $850-ish. $1,000. Okay. We had a donor that was going to match penny for penny everything. So we ended up about 1.6. Mostly this was probably going to be used for bagmen. Like basically this is that last day push type of deal, right? The issue is the fans are not invested in paying for the NIL. I think they are oversaturated. And I know people are like, it's $5 subscription. $5 doesn't matter. You're asking fans for the gear. You're asking them to pay for tickets. You're asking them to pay for the academic fee of next year's academic fee.
I mean, it's not even that too. It's that once again, these are untested people. A lot of these guys are good, but you also have a lot of untested people because you know what? I was looking just right now. I've been looking back at 2017, 247 Sports, where their recruiting board. You know who was number 19, 5-star quarterback to Stanford, Davis Mills. And you want to know who number 22 was? For
the 2017 class?
Yeah, for 2017. He was still
like
a 5-star.
Okay, for 5-star, Caleb Kelly.
Yeah. Nope. 5-star quarterback, Tua.
Which was a great pickup.
So yeah, and great pickup for Alabama. But that's the thing. You know, like you're saying, fans don't want to do it, and it's hard to sell fans when looking at football recruits, going back and looking at old 5-star boards. You'll have boards where it's like, oh, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Micah Parsons, and then you're in this board where Shea Patterson is the number 3 ranked player.
Right.
It's just and look, and like we've said, most 5-stars pan out, or at the very least you can use them. But you want to know who was a 5-star? But you just 5-stars who don't work out. Mr. 5-star from 2018. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but this one makes me laugh. 6th in the class according to these rankings. 3rd QB, JT Daniels, who's on team number 4, and he's ended up at Rice.
Yeah. And I bet he's good. He just has not found the right system that caters to him. No different than, what's his name? Gavin, you would know his name.
No, I don't care about systems. If you go from USC to Georgia to West Virginia to Rice, that's a massive failure of a college career. That's a massive failure of a college career. I'm sorry, JT Daniels. I'm not trying to be insulting. But
yeah, I get it.
If you finish your college career at Rice when you are a 5-star recruit, top 10 quarterback, there's not finding your niche. There's not finding the right place for you. And there's going from USC, at least even when they recruited him in name, people still view as a top tier program, even if they're not, even if USC had issues. Georgia, he went to Georgia and could have won a national championship with Georgia. Instead, everyone loves Stetson Bennett the fourth.
Right. Well, and it's also too, we've had busts with it. It just for every Adrian Peterson we've also had an RJ Washington.
Yeah.
It happens. It does. And it happens. Like they don't pan out. Or for every what's it called? Tommy Harris, we've also had what's his name? Matoyer. So it's like it happens. Like they do bust. We have an unfortunate streak with the bust, but it is what it is. But it all circles back to, like, if they want these players, like, the fans are not, the campaign should not have been focused on the fans paying for it.
No.
Donors, you got oil money, open your paychecks up. Open your wallets up. Oil's at an all-time high. You got money. So
that's what I'm talking about. That's why it's very hard. That's why in my mind it's almost impossible to convince fans to do it. Because recruiting is an art; it's not a science. There will be busts, and you'll have people, and this is bad enough with boosters already. We saw it with UT and Ewers, people who are like, "I paid that guy $2 million to be here. He better be starting this year."
Well, and it's also that. We saw that with Texas. We saw, and that's also the flip side too with it, where it's like. Whether the fans like it or not, whether donors like it or not, the fans don't want to be paying an 18-year-old's paycheck.
We're not donors.
Yeah.
I'm not a donor.
Okay. And there's another thing though too, and and I'm kind of going to go back to this, and I'm going back to this 30 for 30 train. You guys remember seeing? I think it was called Broke.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
No, I'll be honest. I do not remember that one.
Yeah, it was basically.
It was depressing.
Oh my gosh!
It's one of the most depressing ones imaginable.
Yeah.
Is that the one about the scholarship not covering enough or anything?
No,
because I don't recall it. No. I really don't.
No, that's the guy. Those are the guys who lose all their money.
Yeah, that basically lost all their money because they had finance. Didn't really learn how to do finances or anything once they got out of college and everything, and basically lost all their money after playing in pros. And like, if you're had to deal with that, now we've done with the educational stuff and everything. I'm just not sure if you can handle, kids, being able to handle the finances and stuff like that as well, which has been sort of my biggest issue.
Right.
Okay.
Actually, what are you? I mean, it's like, if anything, if you're an 18-year-old or anything, and at that point and everything, what are you going to spend your money on mostly, if anything?
We are
Pokemon cards.
We are 100%. We're 100% a year or two away from hearing of some program offer, basically as a perk for coming to school. You get. I believe this is going to happen. People will call me crazy. Maybe it's happened somewhere I didn't realize it. So I might be right. I might be wrong about that, but I 100% believe that some school is going to hire a team of financial advisors, and that's a perk of coming to the school. Hey, here's your money. We have we have a team of financial advisors who can help you with it if you want.
And I absolutely believe the moment that happens, the small schools will sue the schools, and the small schools will win.
Probably, but someone's gonna. I'm gonna tell you right now. There are schools looking into the legality, and there are schools looking into the legality and the possible open and if it's feasible, because why wouldn't you offer that as a perk? These guys have all this money. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not say as a perk? Hey, you come here. Here's someone who can help you grow. Here's someone who can help you with your money. Now, of course, you get into other issues because the market goes down. There's only so much you can do. But I'm just saying, it might even be a financial advisor. It might just be a financial planner, just someone who gives you basic advice. Doesn't invest or anything, but just basically says, no, spending that much money on Pokemon cards is not a good idea. I believe someone's at least going to try it.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries it.
Whether or not it works, is legal, or is smart. Well, that's another question. But
yeah.
Well, it's one of those where it's like how do I want to say this? The moment that happens, I fully believe that's the moment the question of, are the players actually scholarship or are they employees, will come up. And then everybody loses because that's not what the schools want, even though they can pay for it. And then that's what's going to happen. And then on the flip side, that's what's going to kill NIL for a little bit, is the moment they become employees, it's going to be, you are getting paid. We're not going to allow sponsorships anymore, like the big money ones. I don't know. But that is something to keep in mind. It's just, yeah. Gavin, you were going to say something, though.
Yeah, it was just like I said, that it's just a lot of I mean, you pretty much covered everything too, but I think for the most part it's a like the issue with the trying to say with the whole employee versus basically the whole you're just student athlete and everything. It's a very going to be one of those situations where I think it's going to be very hard to kind of distinguish themselves or anything, because it's like are they going to be doing classes or stuff like that, or are they just going to be there to just play football for the most part? And and I think the other part though too is, and this is something though too, besides the oil money and stuff like that we've been talking about. And I've just kind of been hearing this from from some of the weeds and everything else though too. But we've been getting quite a bit of a boom within the film industry though too. So I would say, if anything, kind of at least get some film industry money going in as well too, with the way things have been going at this point.
Right, and it is one of those. Again, I fully say this is not the responsibility of the fans to pay for. No. This is a donor thing, and it's what I mentioned in the chat. At the end of the day, our class is great. I'm not going to deny that. You got to have the most tiny bits of movers and shakers, though, to push it into an elite status. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're there just yet. We're getting there, and I believe this will be maybe an 8-9 win team next year. Yeah. But you need those day one generational talents that other teams are getting, and basically it's becoming the blue bloods versus correct. Well, Oregon discovered, we have money. Just have Phil Knight write us a check. They're discovering that. OU needs to tap their oil resources and go, come on, guys. We ain't getting we're not winning. So
let's get Sylvester Stallone down there and recruit them while we're at it.
Let's get Brad Pitt. He has money. But no, the circle back though to our class and everything. Swiggy, did you have anybody that you were very happy that we got? Obviously, again, we signed on 23 people and had a walk on, so that's 24 in total.
I'm just happy in general. Some stuff is annoying. The Bowen stuff some of the stuff is annoying, but it's at the same time, it's kind of it's better to learn. It's better to just get. Honestly, I don't want the Hicks and Bowen stuff to happen, but I do kind of. but I kind of look at it as a loss we can turn into a win if this really hammers home. Okay, we can't just be cheap on those guys. We have to go. You have, if you want him and you think he is a guy, he has the right grind set and everything, then you have to go all in. So I think so if they learn that, this defeat can turn into many victories. But
Correct. Correct.
But so it depends how they react and what they learn from it next year. Overall, it's a good class though. So.
Right, and at the end of the day, we're still the second class in the Big 12, and it's still impressive for who we pulled in, as well as the people like who do believe in the mission of what they're pushing. You can be a good player. We also want you to be a good person. Jackson Arnold definitely believes in that. I think it wasn't Petaway. It was what's his name? I can't think of what his name was. Who also did believe in the mission and stuff. I think it wasn't Stone. No, it wasn't Stone.
No.
Correct. It was let me find my list. But they definitely believed in what they were selling for it. So you got to give them a chance. Now, I will say, that being said, you know who did not have that going for them as I'll back up first. First off, I need y'all's opinion as I'm looking for this list. What the hell was Venables wearing today? My dude.
Was he trying to go with the Christmas spirit or something like that? Or
he needs to discover the Christmas spirit of giving some money to some recruits.
I was gonna say, and basically in the words Bar, they have gone to plaid.
What?
Also, one thing. This is I know we're talking Big 12 now, but that's kind of Big 12. One thing to take away from today's class: Kansas State's at a 20-year high as far as their recruiting classes are going.
Yeah, but TCU's at an even higher.
My point is, if I'm TCU and Kansas State, I do everything I can to keep those coaches there. I don't think they will, but
do
what you can.
Swiggy, you and I both said a couple years ago, and Gavin, you and I briefly talked about it, but I said when all the coaches were available, when there was a good coach, I said if Oklahoma State wanted to stay relevant, they need to go get Kansas State's coach, the one they have now. Otherwise, he's a proven winner. He's an ass, but he's a proven winner, and gosh darn does he know how to pull wins out of his hat. If he had better talent, he would be a Nick Saban, in my opinion. Dude's good. He's a generational coach.
I mean, he was sort of a Nick Saban when he was in North Dakota State and everything before he went to Kansas State. But the thing is, and the one thing I think is very different, though, and I'm not saying it's a knock against Kansas State or North Dakota State or anything, but they're pulling in a lot of guys, that were basically 1 star, no stars or anything, and then, pull out, to where they put in a lot of an extra hard work that need them to be where they're at the 4 to 5 star level. It's basically a whole different field when it comes into that sort of realm, if anything.
Correct.
And if anything, and it's I mean, I would rather have somebody that's, being, somebody like that, though, too, that can actually help you win championships.
Right.
But you know what? But man, Gundy is asleep at the wheel.
He's hurting the program being there.
I can't say that anymore. I mean, this is the thing. It's not that you have a bad recruiting class. It's that I mean, okay, Clemson.
It is a bad recruiting class because it's in the mid 50s.
It's I gave some of them ranked 62. Some of them ranked in the 60s.
And not only that, but most of the players that he did have and everything, they're starting to step away. In fact, Braylon Presley, the standout who is actually from Bixby, which is such a huge powerhouse over in the Tulsa area. He's decided he's just going to go ahead and come home and basically play over at Tulsa now. And it's just so weird because a lot of these players that they've had and everything. I mean, if I remember, Spencer Sanders even got into the transfer portal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but he's gone because he got a bad draft. Excuse me. He got a bad draft grade, and it's pretty much this is your only shot to at least try to be in a 7th, 8th round, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be fair, that's what happened with Marvin Mims right now. We all know pretty much what happened is he hasn't announced if he's going to declare anything because he got a bad grade, and they're probably telling him, bro, you need to play in the bowl game so we can get a better look. I actually am starting to lean 55-45 that Marvin Mims is coming back to get better because there was games where he was just absent. So, but anyway, that's OU stuff. But with Spencer Sanders, he's trying to leave. But there's also too, is it because Gundy's catering to his son at this point? I don't know.
I don't know about that, but because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sanders had some injury issues during the season as well, which also kind of affected him for the most part. And it's like, when you're injured and all that and everything else, though, too, it kind of puts in, now they didn't even put, Mike's son, maybe to start maybe just one game or so. I think Mike's son was like 3rd string, if anything. So, but I think if anything else, though, too, I think part of it was just a bad rap and everything. Plus, I know a lot of the players that were on that defensive side of the ball, and in fact, their best player on defense, which was 4-star recruit, I think he's even gone into the portal.
Probably because they realize they're going to suck next year.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that you have to realize that the defensive coordinator, was also now over at Ohio State now with, Jim Knowles and everything else, though, too, and and then, of course, they just really went down, in a blaze of glory, if anything, after the bowl win. So, it's a lot of a different change, if anything. So,
but you have to think, though, as well, yes, is there a consequence that some of these recruits didn't come because we didn't have the money for it from the fans, whatever, sure. But it's probably the consequence of them as well was there stuff in the background that we probably don't know about that caused this mass exodus from OSU? Probably. Mm-hmm. What it is, I don't know, and I don't want to speculate. I don't want to throw rumors around with it. It's just, it seems like there's some writing on the wall that we can't read from it, but there's probably something from it. I mean, look at Ford. He's the same thing. He's transferring out from it. I mean, that team got gutted just like Texas A&M did. So, yeah.
But the thing is that, but the thing is, it's like, it's one thing when you have coaching issues or stuff like that or anything. And, okay, and this is when I'm like...
They do have coaching issues. Gundy can't beat OU. That's a coaching issue. I don't care what anyone says. That's a coaching issue.
No. I mean, it's one thing when you're, a team down there or anything. But it's like, it's one thing when you have, like, the low players and stuff like that. It's another issue, and you have 4 or 5 stars that is basically loaded at Texas A&M and everything, and yet you still can't manage to, to pull out a decent season, though. That's the thing I kind of get, with A&M more than anything. You think with all that talent and everything, you think they would be able to do stuff, but yet they don't.
Because that's death taxes and tradition at Texas A&M.
Exactly. So it's like, I mean, like, it's one thing, if you basically deal with like the low to medium talent on the level with Gundy, but that's another issue. With like if you're having issues down at A&M, where it's an exodus where all of them are now heading to the portal, and some of them, and I'm not saying, and I haven't heard, but this is like some stuff on social media to where there's like been some issues of like, some of them not being paid or something like that though too. That, I haven't heard anything officially, but
we've heard rumors about that, which causes another problem because, hey man, you don't pay me, I'm gonna hold out.
Well, I mean, that's unfortunately, whether the fans want to admit it or not, that's why David Hicks and Peyton Bowen probably used us as, well, I'm going to go to these schools. You better increase your payout.
Yep. So
sucks to suck.
Where my money, man? Where my money?
Yeah. They want their bag. And that's the thing that I think a lot of these schools are worried about getting burned by 5-star busts. I think that's what they're worried about. But that's why you have tape, guys. Like, that's why it exists. You're less likely to have that.
Yeah, but you can't predict that. I mean, just going back looking through 5-star class, looking at old 5-star classes, it's like the draft. It's like the draft. It's such a crapshoot. It's like sometimes some guys are great. Other years, let's see, like other year, like I'll just go to what's the year I haven't looked at yet. I mean, 2007. Yeah, I mean 2017. Yeah, I mean you have a bunch of names. Alex Leatherwood, Chase Young, Cam Akers, Najee Harris. NFL type talent. And then you have guys I have not heard of. I have never heard of.
Yeah.
So it's and that's the problem. It doesn't matter how much tape you watch. It doesn't matter anything. It just sometimes things just don't work out. Michigan, for example, number 26, number 2 position at wide receiver, 26 overall. Donovan Peoples-Jones went to Michigan. He ended up being a 7th-round draft pick partly because Harbaugh, until recently, Harbaugh was just Michigan's been full of Michigan under Harbaugh until recently was full of more 5-star busts than OU.
Yep.
I mean, that's fair. That's his reputation. It's just one of those unfortunate things where, and that's why the money problem sucks. I get why programs have wanted to hold back because they've been through it before. Like if you're looking at the programs who are throwing around money like crazy at guys, they're the programs who want to be blue bloods.
Yeah.
They're the ones who want to make the playoff. They're the ones who want to get the seat at the table, and the ones who are blue bloods. I don't think it's in some ways a reality check, but in another way, it's just them being, I don't want to say realistic about it, but they've seen enough 5-stars bust. I imagine, go back to one of Lincoln's last classes. What if OU had given $5 million to Spencer Rattler and Hazelwood?
Yeah. Oops.
I'm just it's I know we talk about programs who have a lot of money. I know we talk about that, but that's still a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I wish I was a talented athlete so I could, bank.
Okay. I think this may be a weird realm possibility when all this is going around. But this was kind of a weird thought, but what if Rattler was almost feels like he was trying to play not to lose? That was the other thing I was thinking of when we first started in the season. I thought that's what I thought, if anything, like he was trying to play not to lose.
What do you mean? You lost me on that one.
Very start of the season, though.
With South Carolina.
Yeah, no, like when he was back with OU during that time and everything. It was basically they give all the money and everything, and he's like, oh, I gotta, try and, do such and such and everything else though too, and have the high expectations, kind of going along on this bit of a hypothetical, if anything. So it was putting all that into Rattler and everything else though too. I'm just one, and then of course that never was the case, if anything. So.
I don't think Rattler was doing that. I don't think so. I think it was just poor coaching. I mean, we've seen what he can do over in South Carolina. I think he has poor coaching, and that it made it appear he was playing not to lose when in fact it was Riley's terrible ass play calling and coaching just in general. But death taxes, rush 3, drop 8. But no, National Signing Day. It's an exciting day. It always has been an exciting day, but it's just even crazier until they limit it. It's going to be the Wild West, and the NFL is going to go, I think I should start putting games on Fridays.
Well, I will say though, the crazy thing is, this wasn't even the craziest change of the day.
Yeah.
Olive Bowen, nothing at National Signing Day was as crazy as what happened to the Giants last night.
What happened to the Giants last night?
So a few weeks ago, it was announced that the Giants were going to sign Carlos Correa, free agent shortstop. He got $350 million. Yesterday he showed up. She showed up, put on a Giants uniform, was going to do the whole, was going to finish signing the contract, was going to do the whole, press conference, because they always do that. They love to do those with like the top tier free agent players. But anyway, but for whatever reason, the Giants, the day they were supposed to sign him, flagged something on his medicals. Now, for the record, we don't know what this is. No one's allowed to say. No one's saying anything about it. I don't think it's that big a deal. The team who he was with last year, the notoriously cheap Twins, were offering him $280. So I'd be shocked if there was anything really bad. But,
Yeah.
But alleged to Correa's agent, they're willing to renegotiate. Now it's Boris, so once again, grain of salt. But allegedly they didn't contact him for 12 hours. Well, they called up the Mets, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, New York time, the Mets out of nowhere, basically yoinked Carlos Correa away from the Giants. Which now means the Giants' best player is Mitch Haniger, a man who's missed more games than Correa ever has, and somehow passed the Giants' physical. That must be one heck of a physical, but. That was the crazy. I was texting people at 2 a.m. last night that it happened, because that's been one of the zaniest things to happen in baseball in a long time. Just you're willing to give a guy that much money, and then the day of you get cold feet. That's nuts.
Football is just a silly sport anyway.
Every sport's silly, but it's fun.
It's a silly sport. It's just more silly with the NFL, and of course,
yeah.
Oh gosh, National Signing Day, the NFL doing stuff. Gavin, at least you and I made it into the semifinals of our fantasy football. at least we have that going for us, right?
Yep, we sure do.
Everyone pray for me. On both, I know because of fantasy, but on both of my teams, my entire linchpin is Jalen Hurts, and he's probably gonna be out for the playoffs.
Ooh, yeah, I saw that. Cowboys fans, sucks to be you.
And I have the top, and I have the top scoring team in my other league, which there's a good chance I 2 wins away, and. This is why I say I'm cursed with fantasy football. Like, everything I do is right, but I'm still cursed.
Yeah, that's me. Like, I'm looking at my roster and everything and going like, crap. Like, there's a couple guys that are questionable and everything. Like, they're having some injuries, and it's like, oh man, this will hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I have Lamar Jackson that is basically out for right now because of that PCL that he has going with him. And so all I have to rely on is Trevor Lawrence.
That's a fantastic thing to rely on, Gavin. I wish I had Trevor Lawrence. No, I'm serious though. If you look at it,
I'm still good with like one of my picks, but the problem is I just don't have like a good receiver other than Jamar Chase.
Tannehill. The thing is, I know this is NFL. Tannehill's out for the Titans. There is a very good chance the Jaguars pull off. There's a very good chance the Jaguars win the NFC South.
Yeah.
AFC South.
Well, then again, like the AFC South is going to definitely be something for sure. But like, I'm just saying, like, other than Jamar Chase, I don't really have like a whole lot to really go off. on receiver wise. I mean, all I have is probably McLaurin and Wilson. Who are from the Commanders and the Jets
Yeah.
and everything. So I don't really have a whole lot of good reps when it comes into the wide receiver department.
My QB options right now are old Aaron Rodgers or Brock Purdy. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for you at all.
My QB options are Tua and Allen, but man, I'm just like there's like several guys. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep up with Justin on this one. It's a 50-50, but man, it's like Allen is like my one, and then I really hope that Metcalf is able to like actually do something against Kansas City at this point. But man, some of my linchpins are just going down, just like Mark Andrews. Like he's not injured, but Kelsey has like taken his job. I'm like, shit.
It's always tough. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
I mean, Thursday. I mean, it's not like I mean, it's Jags Jets on Thursday, so I have plenty. I mean, I have Ingram who. Yeah, I have Ingram, so that's plenty of time. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything.
Okay, can we? I want to talk about this because there were two things that really kind of caught my eye in the NFL. One is what in the world happened with the Colts that you were up 33 points.
Jeff Saturday is a leader of men, and he lost it in a very manly way. The thing is, the Colts are cursed. Here's the thing: the Colts are cursed. Maybe not cursed, but the Colts. The thing about the Colts is their offense is so bad. Taylor went out, and once that happens, they had to rely on Matt Ryan. And you know what? I'm gonna say this too. The Colts are a fantastic. You know what? All of you are gonna learn something here. Everyone, the Colts are. If you want to know why you don't kick the can on quarterback, the Colts are the reason why. They had Andrew Luck. Okay, Andrew Luck suddenly retires. That happens. They've had since the last year of Luck. They've gone from Luck to Jacoby Brissett. I mean, Brissett's a nice guy. He's a solid backup. Some team is probably going to sign him this offseason, and he'll be in a training camp battle. Maybe he'll start before a rookie takes over. He's a fine quarterback, but they still moved on from him. They got Phillip Rivers. Okay, well, Rivers retired. Well, let's get Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is Carson Wentz, and then they went to get Matt Ryan. That's Matt Ryan's not coming back next year. I'll say this right now: if Matt Ryan is the first game starter for the Colts next year, you know what, Josh? I'll buy you a steak dinner. I don't know. I'll do something because that's not happening.
I have nothing to lose on this one, sure.
That's not happening. I mean, they'll be a sixth starter. They had the most Pro Bowlers last year. They have a fantastic running back in Taylor. Now they've had other injuries, but I mean, watching the second half, it was just you blinked, and the Colts drives were over because it was run, incompletion. They weren't even pulling the clock down. They just couldn't do anything, and they kicked the can on quarterback, and it bit them. You cannot kick the can. Look, you can't kick the can on quarterback. If you think so, if you ever get to the point where you're like, things could work out for us if once you start saying if with your quarterback, it's over.
Yeah.
Very few quarterbacks have been able to change. You either know or you know with QBs. Now, sometimes guys just degrade over the years. They're not good. I mean, Wentz was good until he wasn't. So Wentz has gotten more chances than he should because, well, I mean, he did have a season where he played MVP level. But
right.
If you never reach that level, you can't just kick the can at quarterback. I'll go back to the Ravens this year. Look how bad the Ravens wide receiver core is. one of the worst. I think they might statistically be worse than the Bears wide receiver core now. They traded Marquise Brown, which was fine. Okay, if Brown's just if there's no fit and you're done with Brown, hey, you got a first round pick. They took a center, and they didn't take a wide receiver in the draft. Look, you cannot kick the can on certain things. If you go from a below average room in something to bottom 5, you need to find a way to fix it, because I don't care how good Lamar is. And Lamar is good. I want to be clear on that. I'm definitely a Lamar Jackson.
Gotta give Lamar help. That's the thing. That's just
exactly. And this isn't making excuses for Lamar. He has guys who can't catch the ball, and that's why the Ravens have been in a tough position. The Ravens have escaped a lot of games this year because Lamar's good, Tucker's still good, and they've run into a lot of below 500 teams. They just have. But
right, and it's
but
there's some teams that are cursed, man.
But that's the point. You don't. But that's my point. If you need something, don't take a center. A first round center is such a luxury item.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you're in the right position and he's the best player, yeah, that's fine. But you just can't. I was yelling at that pick because even though the Ravens got A's on their draft, I'm like, oh, no wide receivers is just going to kill them come playoff time, because I don't care how good a center is. The best center in the league can only change the game so much. And I know you're saying, well,
and that goes into college real fast. That also goes into college. I give a lot of shit to Dylan, but I also know that some of that success is reliant on a good O-line. You don't have a good center who can't snap the ball like Conjul, shit happens.
Yeah.
Like, that is part of it, and I agree with you.
Yeah. But, you can't just... I guess that's my point. And it goes with college. It goes with everything. If you have a position of weakness, you can't make it more weak and then do nothing and be like, well, we did these smart moves.
Right.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean that's fine. But even going back to it, the Bengals, they've lapped the Ravens, and they've lapped the Ravens, the Browns, and the Steelers. They got Burrow. Everyone else in that one got worse in some way. I mean, Burrow and Chase. Even if Burrow is enough. Burrow won Coach O a championship. If he was able to take Coach O to a championship game, that's enough to cover up a lot of faults. And I'll admit, I was wrong on Burrow. I really didn't like Burrow coming out. Just because if a guy gets that good that fast, it just feels like you're betting on one great year. But I mean, hats off to Burrow. He's obviously really great. So
right, and you can't deny the players that have excelled with it, because Burrow did have some tough. He did great, and then he went into a slump, and now he's back to probably going to be a franchise quarterback, in my opinion. Same thing where people thought about Dak, though. Dak started out good, then he got injured, then he was okay, and now it's like it's time to get a new quarterback. Dak has shown he will not get it done. There's a lot of Tony Romo apologists at the moment.
The problem with Dak is Dak's still good enough that if things go right, it can work out. Which given how bleak other QB situations look, that's why teams just don't pull the trigger on quarterbacks until you give them no choice, because Yeah, because I mean, without Dak, I know Cooper Rush did. Oh, I know Cooper Rush did solid in his starts, but you can't do that over a whole season. It's kind of how I feel. It's kind of where I feel at this point. Baker is going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick. He'll
Yep.
He'll
And it
take some.
sucks.
He'll take some backup. He'll take some backup money. He can that said, if you have to just go and if you have to find a guy to cover 6 games, that's still really useful in the NFL because guys go down all the time. Like if you're telling me I have a backup quarterback who can realistically go 4-2, I'll pay that. I'll pay that. I'm fine with that. But I mean that's just where Baker is now, unfortunately. So
yeah.
So
guys, go ahead.
I wanted to talk about one more thing real quick. The other thing I wanted to bring up though too was like the end of that Patriots Raiders game and everything. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see that ending of it. I'm
yes.
like,
Nope.
what? Oh my god. Okay. So Josh, the situation was the game was tied, and it was like, what was it? At the Raiders own 35-40? Patriots own 35-40. Is that about right?
Yeah. It was that. It was close. It was that.
Okay. So it's basically that. So the Patriots decide to run a run play, and they run it with Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
And basically the Raiders basically did like this whole huge prevent and everything, making sure they weren't going to do a whole Hail Mary. So they run it, and Ramondre was running it up. He gets about 30, 35 yards or so. Game's tied, expirations and everything. Ramondre, in the brightest ideas, decides to basically gets to the sideline, laterals it back to one of his own guys.
Okay, so so I'm going to defend. I'll let you finish, Gavin. But I will minorly defend Ramondre there. He was laddering. He was close enough to the sideline, and he was laddering it to wide receiver Jacoby Myers, who is a skill player and has hands. So I still don't think it's smart, but you know what? But I do feel like you can at least kind of justify. That's at least 10% justifiable. But go on.
Yeah. So basically, what you said his name was and everything, he goes around and everything, and basically throws the lateral back, and it was like, I don't know like how far back it was. It was like 10, 15
20,
yards.
20,
and I think they were trying to get it to Mac Jones.
It was like 15, 20 yards. Yeah, 15, 20 yards.
Yeah, 15, 20 yards. Throws it back to Mac Jones, and right in the middle of all of it was a big Raider lineman catches the ball and basically shoves down Mac Jones into the ground and runs it all the way back for a touchdown.
Look, if it's Dabo is right in that we're all in God's name, image, and likeness, sometimes God gives us some of our toughest challenges.
Mac Jones not running 50 yards.
But here's my thing. First off, I mean, I'm not the Ramondre. I might give a little bit of faults on that because honestly, first off, the game was tied. You weren't down or anything like that. The game was tied. You could have gone to overtime. That was sort of my biggest deal.
Yeah.
But to lose in a game like that, like, dude, you can just get in and, I mean, it's like, that's what I'm saying. It would be different if you're like, 1 or 2 down or something like, if you're down or something like that. But if the game's tied, you just go for overtime. You just don't, basically try and pull a Houdini out of a hat, and that's what happens.
Yeah. It's luck is a part of a game. You can't sterilize it enough where it's just going to be based on skill. Luck is a part of it, just like human error in the refs.
I just don't. Yeah, but like I said, Ramondre. I mean, Stevenson to Myers. You're on the sideline, and you're going skill player to skill player. I can at least see that. Wide receiver has good hands. He's fast. Maybe he can burst and end around. What is Mac Jones going to do? Mac Jones is Mac Jones is Mac Jones. I love. Look, I have nothing against Mac Jones. If nothing else, he's better than Zach Wilson. But
Yeah.
But
Mac couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, but to basically do that and just basically to get basically pummeled to the ground like that, though, that is like, that is probably one of the best memes, if anything, like that, too, catching it and running over him, if anything. Yeah, it was just probably one of the most crazy endings of a game I have seen in a long time.
Oh yeah, the entire. Honestly, you know what? All of last weekend was a very great sports weekend. You had just looking back at it, because there were college didn't do anything, but there was a lot. We had the Colts blowing the Colts blowing the biggest lead in NFL history. The Bills Dolphins game was very good.
Oh yeah, that was really good. I mean, game-winning field goal and the snowballs incoming.
For the people who care, the World Cup finale was probably the best World Cup final in history.
Yes,
it was amazing.
Depending on who you talk to, because there was a lot of people who were bitching and complaining that it never should have came down to penalty kicks. At some point, it's got to come down to penalty kicks.
Yeah. I
I
love penalty kicks. 120 minutes is enough time. Let come penalty
and we finally settled the GOAT debate of soccer. End of story.
Yeah, it's messy. It's don't tell Ronaldo's sister that. But other stuff too. The Lions Jets game was good. The Cowboys game, unfortunately, Dak threw into a tight window, and it was too tight. Even the Washington New York game was good. It was a good week. Yeah, it was a good weekend it was a good sports weekend.
Yeah, but that pass interference at the end, there was some pass interference there at the end. So
the pass interference was bad. The ref who told Terry McLaurin that he was lined up and then threw a flag on him, that's worse. That ref needs to be fired. I don't normally say this about that, but if you tell a guy he's lined up okay and then decide to throw a flag in the red zone, yeah, you deserve to be. The union may be able to defend him, but he really shouldn't be. You can't lie to a player about something and then flag him for it. At that point, you cannot be a ref.
Right. Guys, it's almost 9:30 at this time. I got to wrap up. So, Gavin, any final words for National Signing Day? Anything else of note before we wrap up?
Hello?
Well,
Hello?
I don't have anything. Oh, are you?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Swiggy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You just say, okay, yeah, you just cut off and said, I just heard silence after you said, Gavin, any final words?
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, okay. No, everything's all good. Hope everybody has a safe holiday and everything, and also stay warm out there.
Correct. Swiggy, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Let me see. I guess. I guess my only. No, I got nothing. So.
Except I know what yours is. Everybody go see Avatar because it's a life-changing experience in IMAX.
Look, okay, fine. I will. Since you remind me, I will say this here. If you're listening, if you intend to see Avatar: The Way of Water at all, just go to the theater. Do not wait for home. Do not wait for streaming. Do not wait to watch it at home. It's a movie that needs to be seen on the highest screen imaginable. If you have no interest, then don't bother. Then that's fine. But if you have even the vaguest of interest, you need to see it on the biggest screen possible. because it's without that one. It's without that one of the best looking movies ever. And the only way I can describe the last hour is if you combine the first Avatar, Aliens, and Titanic.
Well, people have more than an opportunity to go see it at this point,
Right.
especially over the holidays. So,
Well, you just made my heart go on, Swiggy.
guys, I want to thank y'all for joining me tonight. I want to thank everybody who tuned in as well. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload a video and when we go live. Because Sunday, because it is Christmas, I will not be doing a live stream for the second week in a row. For last week, I was spending time with a wonderful friend that I have not seen in person for a year. So her and I went out and hung out all weekend. And she was like, "Don't you have a live stream?" I'm like, "Click. What live stream?" So I won't be live streaming this Sunday as well because it is Christmas and I will be spending time with family. And also, who's going to tune in on Christmas. So our next live stream will be next Wednesday, and that's honestly when we're going to be previewing the Cheez-It Bowl. Previewing our loss, but we'll preview the Cheez-It Bowl at this point. So, guys, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday. If you celebrate Christmas, have a very Merry Christmas. Definitely stay safe with this Arctic cold front coming through. Bundle up. Be sure to drip the pipes. Make sure everything is good to go because you don't want frozen pipes. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just
Also,
saying. Stay
happy
safe.
Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa too. So.
Yep. Happy holidays to everybody across every sport, across every religion. Awesome. So I'll see everybody next week. I'll see you, Swiggy. I'll see you, Gavin, next week. Same time, same place. Stay warm. Stay safe. Happy holidays. Boomer Sooner. Only one Oklahoma. And thank goodness we finished with a strong recruiting class. Top 10.
Yeah.
Later, everybody.
Peace.
Later.